Dano. What's good, people? It's your boy Dan Lewis. It is on the Bywire, and we are back. Thursday night vibes, Dano, keeping it real out here, bringing you the news you know you can trust. It is what it is, and I am here where I am. Yeah. Now, listen, guys, I hope you've had a good day. I hope you're all vibes in. I hope you're ready for we're about to go through. There's been a lot going on as per usual, and we're going to bring you the best in independent media coverage of exactly what has been going on in the world today. Now, before we get into things, you know what it is. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the retweet. Come on. And if you're not on YouTube, head on over Bywire News. Any social platform you're on, just type in Bywire News. Yeah, you'll find us. Hit the follow, whatever it is, including TikTok. Man told you guys a little while ago, innit? We're on TikTok now. We're doing the damn thing. You get me, right? The girl Claudia's on that one. She's running it. She's got a few little videos on there. Go show some love. We're doing the same thing as what we do right here, which is bringing you independent media news coverage, but also talking about what's going on in the news and giving you a different spin on it to what you get in the mainstream. Let's not forget that the mainstream media is, majority of the time, owned, or all of it is owned by a very small number of billionaires who don't give a about you, about your life, about your interests. They run the media specifically for their own interests. And if you want to look at the likes of the BBC, tell me you're getting an unbiased coverage, a fair and impartial coverage of what is going on here in the UK, let alone the rest of the world. Now, let's get into the thing today because we've got a lot to cover. And also later on in the show, we've got my brother Tom Mills coming in to talk to you about what's going on in the football and sporting world right now. I'm very excited for that. It's going to be our a weekly edition, hopefully, to the show. So make sure you do a good job, Tom. Done. Now, going straight into it, we're going into the Dorset Eye. Now, they've been covering the UK High Court, which has continues to conspire with US establishment against Julian Assange. Now, let's just rewind a little bit here and see who Julian Assange is. Julian is, for some odd reason, I can't get this to come off the screen. There we go. I'm back. Hey, it's beautiful again. Julian Assange is basically, he's the founder of WikiLeaks, and he exposed the UK government for a lot of their stuff that they've done, and the US government for a lot of the stuff they've done in terms of war, Iraq, Afghanistan, all that kind of stuff. And they were embarrassed by it, basically. And they call it espionage. They say it was a threat or a danger to international security or national security. They're trying to make it out like he's a terrorist. Now, let's not forget that Tony Blair killed millions of people in the Middle East by and our own soldiers, our own troops, our own brothers, sisters, cousins, aunties, uncles. They killed them by sending them out to war and throwing bombs over the Middle East. Same for George Bush. Man's not innocent out here. You get me, right? But Assange seems to be the one that most they highly want to get. They say he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy. No, come on, man just exposed you lot for what you really are. Now, what's going on here, the reason the Dorset Eye are covering it is because what they've looked into is the case that exactly has gone on. And basically, in January, it was concluded that the WikiLeaks founder should not be sent to the US to be held for trial for international espionage, or whatever they call it, because he was at real risk of suicide. Like, basically, if he gets sent over there, man might do something that would be very sad for his family and many people who love him. And I just think in general, suicide is a sad situation. So that wouldn't be nice at all. However, they have gone back to court to challenge the court on this, and this is US lawyers that come over to the UK and they're like, we can't have this. This is not okay. You've overruled what we want to do. And basically, what they've said is that the expert medical practitioner who said this about his being risk of suicide, they said that she was misleading the court, and they said that this was unacceptable, and they tried to say, look, he's not tried to commit suicide before, so who's to say that he's gonna do it now? And it's like, that's like some weak argument. Someone's sitting there and they're like, they're clearly in a bad situation. You get me? Yeah. And it's like, well, they haven't tried it before, so let's not bring things into the conclusion, which is a sad state of affairs. However, the court have decided, the UK court, High Court, have decided that they will allow further appeal into this situation. So it will be going back to court later this year in September. So we will definitely be seeing more of this in the news. Now, also, the Canary have covered this case, which is Assange is an innocent man accused of practicing journalism. That is the words of Julian Assange's partner, who has said that basically she doesn't believe that this is fair. It's an attack on him, that they're working with the US to conspire against him. And her name is Stella Morris, has 2 children by Assange, and stood in front of the court yesterday, the steps of the High Court, and said that the US government is exploiting the inherently unfair arrangement between the US and the UK. Now, fair play to Julian's wife, trying to support him, trying to speak out on his behalf. It's a very, very, I can only imagine, being very scary situation to be in. I imagine that there's probably a lot of, and it's been mentioned before, people trying to get to them, trying to attack them, and all kinds of things, especially when your face is all over the media, being made out to be some kind of international criminal when, you know, let's be honest, man's just exposed the government in it. Yeah, like that's what should be done. When the government are lying to us, we need to know. And man's gone and done that, and I've got a lot of respect and a lot of time for man for doing that. There's been a lot of comment on this as well in this article from the Canary. They mentioned there that Jeremy Corbyn came along as well. Man like Corbs, don't know if you see the interview, it was on Monday, check it out. Came in and also joined the protesters for this preliminary hearing. And he said that the United States seems to have a sort of obsession with people who uncover the truths about US military presence around the world. I think they should wind their necks in and let Julian Assange go. I hope the court today gives a very clear signal that they will not allow the appeal by the United States and that Julian Assange will be allowed to go free. Unfortunately, that was not the case, as we know. And the High Court hearing, as we said before, will continue later this year, where they are looking to, as I said, extradite him to the USA. Extradite basically means that the US can come into the UK, grips man up, put him on a plane with cuffs and take him over there. And that's the way they work. So check out the Canary for that one. Check out the Dorset Eye. Them guys doing their coverage as they do. While you're there, show them some love. Maybe hit them up on Twitter, do a little retweet and that. You know what it is. Now, moving on to the next story. We're over at the New Internationalist. Now, big up the guys at New Internationalist. We haven't covered you guys on the show in a little while. So obviously, great to have you guys being covered here. And what they're talking about is a place called Somaliland. The title of this one is about, excuse me, climate change is obliterating pastoralism, which employs 70% of Somalilanders. The government has grand plans to reorient to the sea, but can foreign interests be kept at bay? Now, this is the long read, so definitely, like, when you got some time, sit down and read through this one. It's a fantastic piece of work. And what they've done is they've followed the story of a few different people, their history, where they've come from in Somaliland, and what they're doing. Now, what's happened is over in Somaliland is that climate change has had seriously detrimental effects on the people there, on the lands there. As the piece starts here, they talk about driving through dramatic scenery. This part from the very beginning: plains scattered with mud-like sculptures, hosting colonies of termites and dunes of ruby-colored sands. We had passed hundreds of animal carcasses. Most were sheep, goat, cattle, but many too many, the driver pointed out, were camels. Now, camels are very, very valuable to the people of Somaliland. They're well loved by the people, simply on the basis that, you know, they have a lot of use for the people, and then they look after them. But unfortunately, because of the droughts, which used to be named, they used to name the droughts, and they were far and few between, and now just too regular. People can't even cope. People are trying to get out, trying to get away, and the droughts are just killing off the animals, and it's a very, very sad sight to see. Now, over there, they have like 0.01% of the carbon footprint. They take up the global carbon footprint. They take up 0.01%. So this is a very small amount compared to other countries, but they are impacted by so much so that like 60% of the camels, the country's camels, have been killed by the droughts and climate change and all this stuff. And what's happening in Somaliland, where they have their own government, they're just to the northwest of Somalia, basically. They're their own governed area. What the government are doing there is they're trying to move people towards the sea. I think it's around 70% of their borders, the boundaries of the land is covered by sea. They're trying to get people to use the sea, find new ways of living by using the sea. One of the problems they have, though, is international interests, other countries coming along, destroying the fish stock, making it hard, and then also pollution. And this article basically explains about how they're trying to do that. And this is why it says, you know, a taste of hope in Somaliland. Fantastic work for the people there, but by the people there, to try and make a difference and continue their way of life, their culture. Like, big up the Somalis, man. We love the Somalis. Dano. So really, really lovely piece here. Make sure you check that one out. Big up the New Internationalists for covering these kind of stories and helping us understand the effects that climate change has on the global south, which is why, and you know I'm going to plug it, why it is so important that people are out there at COP26 this autumn. The world leaders are all flying in on jets, you know, them gas guzzling jets, over to Glasgow to talk about how they're going to save the environment. Whether they'll do anything, we don't know, but that's why people need to get involved, be a part of it. Look up the COP26 coalition, look up Labour Green New Deal, look up Green New Deal, all these different movements, these global climate change movements that are basically wanting to see action from the government. On that point, did anyone see the video from Green New Deal where Keir Starmer basically said he was too busy to speak to young people about climate change? Weak stuff, man. Like, I know Keir doesn't watch the show, but come on. Really? Come on, bruv. Then when they did get a chance to speak to him, he just kind of muttered some words out. He was like, oil fields and Cambo. It was like, bruv, you can't even put together a set. You're meant to be a sir, a knight of the realm. You're meant to be the guy who's meant to lead the Labour Party to victory, and you can't even talk to some kids about climate change. You can't even sign up. They've got this Green New Deal bill that they want political leaders to sign up to. Big up them for doing that. Young people, I've always said, always lead the way on climate change. And if Keir can't sign up to that, then that's a sad damn shame. Now, moving over to another sad damn shame is, yes, the Times have used a picture of Diane Abbott to advertise an article about Jamaican murderer, rapists, and pedophiles. Obviously, we know Murdoch Media, they're racist, man. Yeah, as it says on the title, what I've put on the screen, the Times continue to be racist. Basically, what's happening is they changed the picture afterwards, but they had already tweeted it. It's already out there. They've already done what they've done. Do you know what I mean? Now, we got to pay some respect, put the respect on Diane's feet. You know what I mean? She's the first woman black MP, black woman MP in the UK. She's done a lot. Yeah, she's taken. It was shown that she's received the most abuse out of any other MP in any period online. She takes it and she keeps doing what she does, and they continue to throw at her. I just think it's disgusting. We need to call them out when they do this. Now, basically, the article was about the Home Office deportations. They used her picture as the featured image on the the tweet. That was the image that they used, the one that I just showed on the screen. Now, obviously, they're probably doing this because she's come out in support of stopping the deportations. But it's clear to see that basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to bait her up, trying to stir some hate at her name, and they look for the first black person that they can to try and throw attack on. There was nothing about her in the article. There was no reason for her picture to be used. Now, big up Squawky for picking this one up. Check out the Squawk Box article where he's got a picture of the tweet and also goes into a bit more detail about the constant racism we see in the media. For example, when the BBC got confused between Dawn Butler and Marsha de Cordova and Belle Ribeiro Addy, like, it's 2021, man. Seriously. Black people do not all look the same, right? Like, I can't believe I'm saying this on a live stream on the internet, but it is what it is. Now, also covering the story about deportations is the Canary, Steve Topple. Big up my man Steve, man like Steve out here. Don't know what's going on, brother. But 66-year-old with suspected dementia is among UK residents. Priti Patel just deported to Jamaica. Now, this is a big story. Like, this is, I just. Britain, the UK government a few years ago built a very, very big state-of-the-art jail over in Jamaica on the basis that we'll build a jail for you if we can basically send loads of your people back and you put them in the jail. Or you don't even have to put them in the jail. We just want to send them over there. And I say back, that's what the words that the government use. But basically, this is racism, yeah? Deportations, let's be honest about what deportations are meant to be. If someone comes into this country illegally and lives here illegally, then there is a situation where in the courts and that they would consider a deportation, where they send someone back to a country that they came from. But what's going on right now with the Windrush generation, a lot of black people and also Asian people, is that they are being forced to other countries that some of them haven't even been born in. Some of them were born here in the UK. Some of these people came over here at the request of the British government, the UK government. They came here at the request to help with the NHS, to help drive buses, to help become doctors, to become teachers, to help our country, to help rebuild our country after the war. Yeah, some of these people, you know, their own relatives may have even been within the British Empire, may have even joined in the UK in fighting the war, right? In helping fight so that we could win that World War II. Some of their relatives did that, and they've come over here to help. And then they've had kids, and those kids and some of the kids and some of the people who came over here to help rebuild this country after that war are being sent to the countries that they may have relatives in, or that their parents may be from, or they may have been born from. And that's what the government are doing here, and it is absolutely disgusting. Priti Patel literally does not give a monkey's uncle. Like, she's horrible. I can't get my mind around what she is thinking when she puts these policies into place. And it is absolutely disgusting. I got mad respect for Steve, you know, really gone into detail on exactly what's going on. The main story here is that one of the people that was sent back was a 66-year-old with suspected dementia. Now, the people who have been working on trying to stop these deportations, obviously BLM have been involved, Movement for Justice, there's loads of campaign groups that are involved, and they're doing a great job. But they've also found out, as we find from the article here, that there's been COVID outbreaks in the detention centers. So not only are they like going into these people's houses, pulling them away from their lives, their jobs, everything, they're putting them in these detention centers, which we know are not hospitable environments, and they are basically ending up where they've got COVID, they've got health issues, they've not got access to medication, and then they're put on these chartered flights. And yesterday, I think it was there was an estimated cost of around £43,000 to send 7 people to Jamaica. Like, Now they're saying that these people are criminals and that they've done stuff. In some cases, we don't have the evidence for that. We can't prove that. But in any case, if someone who has lived here their whole life or the majority of their life and they've done something criminal, surely we should be able to deal with that within our own criminal justice system. There's a whole conversation to be had about the problems with our criminal justice system, but we should not need to be deporting 66-year-olds with suspected dementia to go to Jamaica and what's going to happen there. Like, that's disgusting. One of the tweets that's mentioned in the article is from Movement for Justice, where they updated yesterday at 1:30 p.m. saying that the Jamaica 50 plane has landed. They got a call from a confused 66-year-old son of a Windrush, and they suspect he has dementia. They gave him £40. He has no phone of his own. He has zero family or friends in Jamaica, needs care and medication. This brutal injustice. This is brutal injustice. Stop the plane, stop charter flights. It is unbelievable. It is disgusting. It is horrible. Priti Patel, honestly, you are the most horrible member of parliament that I can think of right now. I can't even, the words go. Someone else who's gone into detail on the issue is the home slice, the one and only Claudia Fior. So check out on our TikTok account. So check out Bywire News on TikTok. She's done a sick couple of videos there explaining a little more into it. Now, a new member to the Bywire crew, or on the Bywire crew, is my guy Tom. What's going on, Tom? How are we? Are you feeling good? Are your vibes in?
I'm all right, mate. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well, Treagle. Now, boy, hey, I'm excited, right? Obviously, man's a Liverpool fan, and 5:30 this Saturday, I will be sat on my couch with my beer, ready to watch us play. But there's a lot going on in the football world. You're here to tell us a bit more about it. What's happening? What's happening? Tell me more, brother.
Well, so this is probably one of the biggest stories in football, in recent football history, that's broken over the last week, which is Leo Messi, who in my opinion, and in the opinion of probably millions of people, really is the greatest player ever to play the game. Has left Barcelona kind of against his will. So he's gone and signed for Paris Saint-Germain because they've got mega bucks. He didn't really want to leave, and that's what we're going to start at by talking about.
So man's on like millions of pounds. Like, he's like the most well-paid football. He's got more money than Ronaldo, right?
Oh, he's got more money than God.
So like, he wanted more though.
No, he didn't want more.
Okay.
He actually agreed to pay for half of what he was getting before. So he wanted less.
Really?
Well, he probably didn't want less, but out of sort of loyalty to Barcelona, he agreed to pay for them for less. But unfortunately for them and for him, they are in such financial difficulties due to just total sort of mismanagement of the club's finances that even that was no longer an option. They couldn't afford even to pay him half of what they were paying him before. And even had he played for free, they would not have been able to register him under La Liga rules.
Wow, this is crazy. So what? So he's going over to PSG. Is he getting more money there, or what?
I would imagine he's getting a lot more money there. Yeah, I don't think that was what he wanted to do. You know, social media and mainstream media, for that matter, have just been sort of ablaze with images and video clips of him announcing what was happening. A very kind of plaintive and sort of upsetting in many ways press conference, in which he choked up, broke down, and had to be handed a napkin to dry his tears on by his wife. Now, obviously, football is a very partisan game at times. And, Messi's no angel, got in trouble for tax dodging at times. So there are lots of people who found this quite funny. I have to say I wasn't one of them. I think partly that's because I'm a sort of a Barcelona sympathiser. They're the only I'm a Southampton, a lifelong Southampton fan, which you might say would mean I'm not really interested in football. But you know, the only club I've ever sort of cheated on Saints with was Barcelona, sort of like back at the kind of the start really of Messi's career when Pep Guardiola was the manager there. So I am a Barcelona sympathiser, but also I'm a socialist. So as a socialist, it was very upsetting to see a worker, and you know, although a very well remunerated worker, I was very upset to see a worker basically being forced to become like, you know, an economic migrant, you know, like myself and like, you know, loads and loads of other people, despite being the actual best in the world at what he did and offering to play for half of what he was getting paid before.
It's an amazing situation, really, because footballers, we do forget that they are workers.
The wealth creators.
Well, yeah, and sometimes, you know, we do look at athletes or sports people. Sometimes they do what they do for free because they don't actually get paid for competing in competitions, and that it's what they get is at the end. It's like prize money or sponsorship deals and that kind of stuff. Like, look.
Oh, you know, I mean, when I used to play football, I got, you know, there were clubs who pay me to go away, mate.
Yeah. To be honest, they paid me to get off the football field in school, so I know exactly what you mean. But like, you know, these guys, they are workers at the end of the day. They do have unions, albeit an interesting type of union. I think the one in the UK is affiliated with the TUC, which is interesting.
I think it. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be interested to know how many of its members would sort of conceptualize it as a union or even know what a union is. And that's not me sort of saying that, you know, footballers are fit, because I don't buy that at all. Actually, what I think the problem there would be is the sort of ridiculously low levels of political education and sort of consciousness in this country.
Although we are seeing a new wave with the likes of Rashford and so on. I like the way a lot of the younger players now do seem to have that political conscience. Rashford's even got my man Boris on speed dial now.
Well, Rashford seems to decide that he wants to save the world whenever he gets injured, and he's got nothing to do. I might as well save the world, and he's currently injured. So, you know, we can keep our fingers crossed that, you know, maybe he'll have another pop at Boris.
Hey, let's hope he does something about the climate. That's what I'd like to see him talking about climate change. Maybe he'll turn up at COP26 this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's had a pop at Deliveroo recently, didn't he? So, like, while you've got Keir Starmer, the notional leader of the opposition, out there mowing down Deliveroo riders in his SUV, you've got the Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford actually, you know, doing what Keir Starmer should be doing and taking the side of working people. But I suppose, you know, going back to Messi, that was part of why it was so upsetting to me, because this is a guy who is the best in the world at what he does, but he still has to, you know, take his family and move them elsewhere, put his kids in different schools in a country where they probably don't speak the language. And it just goes to show that even somebody like that, even somebody who creates so much wealth for so many different people, even somebody who is so preternaturally brilliant and gifted, basically doesn't have any rights. And you know, I saw there was, you know, it was quite a decent article in the Guardian by Jonathan Lee talking about this, and but he kind of like stopped short of the punchline when he said, well, this is due to unregulated capitalism. No. It's not due to unregulated capitalism. It's due to capitalism, by which we mean, you know, organizing society around the creation of private profit.
Right. Exactly. This is it. And this is one of the big issues I have with football, no matter how much I love it. And I've learned to love the culture around football. You know, at the end of the day, it is for the private interests. And I'm excited about the football this weekend. I'm going to find a way to watch the football this weekend. I don't have a subscription to those companies that try and rip us off, which leads us perfectly onto the start of the Premier League this weekend. And as I say, millions begin to get ripped off again as the football season begins. Now,
you know, that was the only policy that Tom Watson came up with when he was in charge, when he had the culture brief and when he was in the shadow cabinet. The only policy that he came up with in 4 or 5 years of having that brief was Like, let's something along the lines of, right, we need to do more about like internet piracy and people illegally streaming football, bang these people.
I don't illegally stream football. I just find ways to watch it
Of course,
without a
mate.
subscription.
Yeah. Well, no, you'd be perched. You live, you live up in Merseyside. You'd be perched on the wall somewhere, won't you? That's all legit.
Find a lamppost somewhere. But yeah, no, like, you know, the season starts this weekend. There's so much going on, but the big thing is that no matter what around football, there's money. There's the price of the tickets to see the game. There's the price of the tickets to get on the train to go and see the game if you're traveling around the country. Like, I know one guy, he's worked out that instead of buying, say he's traveling from Liverpool to London, instead of buying one ticket, if he buys a ticket from Liverpool to Runcorn and then Runcorn to Stafford and then Stafford to Milton Keynes and then Milton Keynes to London, which is the same train, just it works out cheaper.
Split your journey. I think there's an app for that.
Yeah, and it's just obscene. Then there's the TV prices, the price of food and everything around the stadiums and all of that. Like, I think the working class people that, you know, make football what it is are priced out of it. But and then obviously there's the fact, you know, fully support the Save Grassroots Football campaign. Plug for an earlier show that we did earlier in the year where we had Kenny come on and talk about saving grassroots football. Definitely, if you're watching, look at and you care about grassroots football, look up Save Grassroots Football on Twitter and hit their petition. But, you know, the way, no matter what happens, we all find a way to watch it. We all find a way to get involved. You're my pundit for football. I'll come to you. I'll be like, yo, what should I put on my accumulator this weekend? So what are you expecting? What are the highlights? We've had some big transfers. There's been some big money movements in the UK. What should we be expecting to see this weekend from the Premier League?
Well, Southampton losing, I would say that would be my main prediction. I'm not a betting man. That's another industry that needs a bit of regulating, eh? But
yeah, definitely. We've been speaking to Matt Zarb Cousins about that one. We'll be getting him on the show soon. Yeah, definitely. But like, you know, there's a lot of money moving around in terms of the players in which teams they're in. So, you know, can you just give us a run through of what we've seen there and the kind of money that's moving about?
Well, the big one was Jack Grealish, who's become this kind of thirst trap for something like half the population of the country, I think. It's sort of hooded eyes and floppy hair and rippling thigh must sort of seem to have massively. Hair. Yeah, well, you have indeed. Let's see your thighs out next time, then. But
this is a family show.
Well, literally, yeah. So I think that's the main one. I think it was 100 million quid it cost to take him from Aston Villa to Manchester City. But that's going to have sort of knock-on effects. It's already had knock-on effects. So my club, Southampton, ended up selling our star player to Aston Villa. So obviously the money that they got, or part of the money that they got for Grealish, they decided to splash out some of it on him. I can't really remember too many of the other sort of bits and bobs. The market has actually been quite moribund because of COVID. There are clubs that are sort of stockpiling players effectively, like Maggie Thatcher stockpiling coal in the Netherlands, because they're terrified of, you know, what happens if there's another wave, what happens if there's another variant, and all our players end up sort of having to self-isolate. So they're you know, the Premier League clubs, the clubs that have got the means are going with bigger squads this season. Which means that there has been much less movement in the transfer market than there otherwise would. But the other contributing factor to that, another contributing factor to that, has been that they're all skint. Well, not all of them, most of them are skint. So, you know, which is why Barcelona have had to let the greatest player that's ever played the game leave them. You know, they have lost huge amounts of money through COVID, through not being able to get fans through the door and charge them, you know, £7 for a burger or whatever it is. And you know, that just goes to show you, you know, what you were sort of alluding to earlier is absolutely correct. You know, ultimately it is, you know, it's fans getting milked, really, that sort of makes the world go round in that sense. And they're effectively sort of leeching off the players in order to do that, really. I think a good way of looking at it, I suppose, and I said this in something that I wrote on the European Super League for New Socialist, is that capitalism is in football, right? Football isn't capitalist. Some people say it is, but a better way of thinking of it is that capitalism is in football and football is in capitalism. But at the end of the day, you know, there's more in football. Besides that, there's joy and there's soul, and there are forms of resistance. I mean, the grassroots campaign that you alluded to earlier is really important, and we're hoping to sort of showcase some of these resistances at the World Transformed this year, the In Real Life World Transformed Festival. Am I allowed to plug that?
Yeah, you can plug it.
I thought I might be allowed to plug that on this show. Yeah, so, you know, there are going to be some really exciting sessions that connect to football at the World Transformed this coming September, you know, next month, basically, starting on the 25th of September, which is my birthday. So do feel free to buy me a pint.
Fantastic. Listen, Tom, thanks so much for coming on the show. Hopefully we're about to get you back again. You could, you know, once the season gets going, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more news and a lot more stories. Always fantastic to kick it with you. Maybe I'll come down to Southampton. We'll do a show there after the game or something, and I can buy.
No, that'd be amazing. well, no, you'll be, if you're getting the train, mate. I'll get the beers in. Thanks so much for having me, Dan.
No problems. Have a great one, man. I'll see you soon. Listen, guys, there you have it. There's our little sports roundup for tonight's show. It's the weekend now, 4-day week. Man's living that life. You get me? Don't know. If you ain't already, check out our episode with Autonomy, Will Strong, where we were talking about the idea of how work can change for people. And I am living that life. I am showing that it works, and it makes you so much more happier. Also, I have a great boss. You know what I mean? That makes life a lot better as well. Anyway, listen, it is what it is. We've been who we've been. This is On the Bywire. I'm Dan Lewis. This is the news you know you can trust. Make sure you share the stream, hit us up on YouTube, and check out our website where our team work 24/7 to bring you the news you know you can trust. Peace.